This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted, as always, to be joined by super lightweight prospect star of the future, Dalton Smith. We're here at the Steel City Gym in Sheffield. How are you, Dalton? Nice to see you.
Yeah, good as always. What about yourself?
All good, mate. All good. Always good when people ask me how I am, so that's always a good start to what's probably going to be the final interview of my day here at Steel City Gym. Always a pleasure to come up here, and always a pleasure to see you too. What have you been up to?
Not much, same old. Just like a professional fighter does, staying in the gym, staying fit, and obviously preparing for the next fight. So, yeah, it's just a different day, but same routine.
Now, the last time I saw you was back end of, probably around early December, mid-December. I saw you down at University of Kent, helping Luke Campbell prepare for his bout with Ryan Garcia. Now that experience is kind of done, and you've gone out and you've boxed since then. How did you find that period before Christmas, getting that sparring in?
Oh, it worked. I learned so much in that time, because I didn't have any fights coming up. So, we got offered to go down and spar Luke, and then, I ended up staying as one of the main sparring partners. So, I spent most weeks down there while I prepared for the Garcia fight, and, I felt like it brought me on loads, like living with them and seeing our world champion prepares, just the same as like when we've got Charlie in the gym. So yeah, I learnt loads, and then I just feel like I'm improving all the time.
What do you think was brought on the most by your time with Luke? Luke's somebody who's boxed at a tremendously high level as an amateur and as a professional. So I'm imagining that work is something that really brings you up to speed quite quickly. Yeah,
most definitely. And I think Luke's very underrated, and he doesn't get the credit he's due. You see the opposition, what he's fought. They've been pound for pound the best in the world. So, I rate Luke as, still one of the best in the world. And, for me to be down there and getting the experience with Luke, when it's my time to come, that it'll all show.
Did you feel the benefit of it when we saw you out last time on the Warrington-Lara undercard? God, it feels like a long time ago already.
Yeah, it wasn't a long time ago, but it does. A lot's happened since then. But yeah, I just feel like I'm improving all the time as a fighter. I feel stronger. I feel like I'm becoming more mature in my boxing ability. And the only thing for me now is getting the championship rounds, and the next fight with Lee Appleyard. I think he's going to try and push me to those late rounds.
You mentioned kind of the rescheduled bout with Lee Appleyard. That was who we were expecting to see you in the ring with at the time. Was that frustrating at all? Obviously, you prepared for Lee Appleyard, another step up or a step up in your young professional career. Was that frustrating that didn't come off?
It was, yeah. And to be honest, for that fight, I think we had like 50 opponents, and it was so frustrating trying to get an opponent for that fight. So, we then got Lee Appleyard for perfect step up. Probably get a good few rounds in with him, but he tested positive for COVID, and it's nothing we could have argued with. It was nobody's fault, and that's why I ended up fighting Ellis.
Now, after that fight, I don't know how you don't strike me as somebody who spends an awful lot of time on social media, and certainly not somebody who spends an awful lot of time on Twitter, which is good. Don't. But after the fight, I know from my own kind of experience and looking in kind of the boxing scene and various media, certainly across the pond, you had a lot of people who were impressed with your performance. Does that reach you when you've had a win, or are you very much kind of tunnel vision?
Obviously, it's a lot of it. At the stage I'm at now, it is all hype, and it is nice to see that. It shows that I'm improving, and every fight I'm getting better. But to me, that's just hype. I'm still a baby. I'm still a novice in the pro game, and I've got a lot to prove. So it's nice to see those comments. It's nice to see people taking note. But I'll be happy when I get a world title under my belt.
You mentioned kind of the Lee Appleyard fight. We're waiting an official announcement on that ahead of your return to the ring. But considering everything of the last 12 months, you've now got out this year, you've got another bout hopefully going to be coming up very soon. How important is it for you to be active this year, particularly with the second half of the year with crowds coming back?
Yeah, most definitely. The main thing for me is staying active now. I've not gone over 5 rounds as an amateur or professional, with the World Series of Boxing. So, I need to stay active. I need those opponents who are going to push me and test me in those later rounds. And, I feel like we're on the right track for that. And as long as I stay active this year, that's what I'm aiming for.
You mentioned earlier about having Charlie Edwards around as a world champion and kind of spending that time with Luke Campbell. interim title fight, but a very high-level fight and a high-level performer in Luke Campbell. Got another world champion in waiting now. Mthalane-Edwards has had his bout with Mthalane announced for April the 30th. Must be a nice little buzz for the gym when a big fight like that gets announced.
Of course, and everyone knows Sonny. He's been chasing that world title for a long time now, and I really think he's going to pull it off. And I think we're going to have another world champion in the Steel City gym. So, he's working hard in the gym. I've never seen him with abs about 5 weeks out from a fight. I don't think he ever has them on fight week, but to have him 5 weeks out from a fight, he's been working hard.
What kind of lift does that give you guys? Because obviously you've known Sonny for an awful long time, and Sonny's been with your dad for years and years now. What does it mean to you to see somebody who you've come up with, obviously initially as an amateur yourself, boxing for a world title as a professional?
It just shows that if you work hard, anything's possible. I think Sonny was here when he was at university, went through GB, through the amateurs. Then he went to Marbella for a bit when he first turned professional, came back, and it's just nice to see him achieve his goals. And I really think he's one of the best fighters in the world, and there's not many people who can deal with his style. And I just really honestly think he's going to become a world champion in his next fight.
Tough fight, Mthalane, Ring Magazine #1 flyweight. Tough fight, as all should be for a world title.
Yeah, of course. Any fight for a world title is not easy. The opposition is going to be tough. So. But I really think he's 39 now, 38, 39. He's not been the most active fighter, and I've watched a few of his few rounds on his fights, and Sonny's going to be too young, too fresh, and too sharp. And don't get me wrong, he can punch and he's beat some very good kids, but I don't think people realise how tricky and awkward Sonny is.
What do you think it's going to mean to your dad to have another world champion? Obviously, all being well and Sonny gets over the line. He had Charlie on that great night when he beat Christopher Rosales. What do you think it will mean to your dad? I mentioned this in an interview earlier. He's not somebody who, as soon as I pulled the camera out today, he went running off. So I have to ask the next best person, which would be you. What would it mean to him to have another world champion?
Like you said, we've just been talking about my dad. He's not one for the limelight. He likes to stay in the shadows, and the passion he's got in the gym. The lads know what it'd mean to him. For Charlie to win a world title, and then his younger brother to become a world champion. That'll mean everything to my dad. You'll not get him on a camera where he's celebrating, but deep in his heart, I know how much that'll mean to my dad, and I really think they're going to do it together.
Well, maybe I can grab him after Sonny becomes world champion. Maybe I have to twist his arm.
Next time.
Final one on all things Steel City. Just want to talk to you about one of the latest arrivals, one of the new arrivals, the Doc, John Doherty, recently joined the gym. How's he settled in?
Yeah, he's settling in well. I've known John for many years. I think we boxed in the youth worlds when we was like 16. So I know John quite well. Come through GB with him, and he's been at the gym for quite a couple of months now, so he's settling in. And I've always rated John as a fighter. Fast hands, can punch, got a good engine, and he just from seeing him in sparring and stuff, he's improving all the time. So I'm looking forward to seeing him with his first fight underneath my dad. And I'm expecting big things for him.
He said in my interview that there were certain things, that we won't go into it, there were certain things that he was doing that he shouldn't have been doing away from the ring and away from training. You know your dad better than anybody, obviously as a person, but as a boxing trainer. He's not going to be able to get away with that with your dad, is he?
That's it, and you've seen fighters come and go with my dad, and more than likely it's because he doesn't put with no shit. You know what I mean? He's straight to the point. There's no beating around the bush with him, and he'll not blow smoke up your arse, not sugarcoat anything. So if you're here to work with my dad, it's here for one reason, and that's to work hard in the sport, and the reason why you're here. So and John's adapted perfectly to that, and I think it's going to work out good for him. Okay,
before I let you go, just grab your opinion on a couple of fights coming up. You are a 140-pounder. There is a big fight in the 140-pound division at the end of May. Josh Taylor versus Jose Ramirez for all the marbles at super lightweight. Who are you picking in that one?
Oh, I think Josh Taylor. I think he wins by late stoppage. I think, I watch a lot of Josh. I keep wanting to say Josh Kelly all the time. Josh Taylor. I think he's one of the best fighters out there. I've always rated him. And I think it is going to be hard to beat. So, I think Josh is going to win that one.
having a potential undisputed world champion in your weight class. There's, of course, Jack Catterall coming up behind him, he was in line for the winner of that. We've also got all of the lightweights who are now looking at 140 pounds, those big names looking to enter the division in the next 12 to 18 months. That must be really exciting for you at this stage of your career.
Oh, very exciting to be in a division where these, all those great fighters and achieving good things, my time's going to come in the next couple of years, so I've just got to sit back, embrace what they're doing, soak it all up, learn from them, and one day I'm going to be up there with the best, and they can say, it's Dalton Smith who's fighting for the undisputed at the weekend. So I'm soaking it all up. I'm watching these guys, I'm learning from them, and even though the competitors are in my weight, I'm nowhere near their level just yet. So I'm watching, I'm learning, and one day I'll be there.
Get some revenge for Luke Campbell at 140 pounds against Ryan Garcia.
That's it, yeah. to get on to Eddie, we'll build that one up. I wouldn't mind that one.
Yeah, I think that would be quite an interesting one to get. Final one, the Boxing Social OGs, the people who have been tuning in to watch Dalton Smith on Boxing Social will know that you're a massive Canelo-Alvarez fan. Yeah. We are about 4 to 5 weeks-ish away from Canelo-Alvarez versus Billy Joe Saunders. Break that fight down for me.
Do you know what? I find it's an awkward one. That obviously I rate Canelo. I rate you look who he's beat. If he looks unstoppable at the minute, but Saunders has got one of those styles again, like Sonny. He's awkward and he's hard to work out. And if I had to pick, I think Canelo's going to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Billy Joe pulls the upset off. And I really think he's capable to do it, and he's the man out there to beat Canelo-Alvarez.
If Billy Joe wins, are you going to get a dog called Billy?
I'm going to have to, aren't I? I'm going to have to.
That's a reference to Canelo, who is, of course, your lovely little dog, which I was hoping to see today, but I haven't. Maybe next time. Dalton Smith, always a pleasure. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Nice to see you looking so well, and hope to see you back in the ring very, very soon.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thank you.